Perfect. Okay, so to start, can you tell us the name of your business, who you are, and what you guys do?
Yeah, my name is Brian Hall. I'm the president of Highland AC Sales and Service. We are a residential and light commercial HVAC contractor in South Texas.
Mhm. Oh, perfect. Okay, so what you said AC, can you dive a little bit deeper how you actually serve the community with your services?
Right. So our primary focus is residential homeowners, and then so we look to provide great service, replacements when needed,
Yep.
excellent maintenance plans. And then our secondary market that we service is the light commercial. So your strip center, malls, doctor's offices, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, so what was the main reason or inspiration behind your business? Why did you get started in this industry?
Now, I've owned a service company since I was 21 years old. So
Oh, wow.
built and sold two of them. And so I just, when I got the opportunity to get into HVAC, I really made a lot of sense to me.
Gotcha. Yeah. So my dad has owned a construction company for 25 years as well. So that's kind of his bread and butter. But yeah, that's very interesting. So how long has it been since you had this business, Highland AC?
We acquired it in April 1 of 2023. So,
Oh, it's actually pretty recent, huh? Last year?
yeah. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. So are there any challenging things that you have discovered and kind of faced having this business? How were you able to overcome them? Yeah.
So, anytime you do, an acquisition, your, your biggest challenge is like, what's the existing actual business? And,
Mhm.
um, we, through the due diligence process, did as best as we could, but sometimes you find, that things weren't always as they seem. And so you have to work through those challenges, uh, assuming staff and discerning whether they're going to follow your values and what they're going to do, and then making changes as necessary. And then and attempting to, build a customer base that understands new ownership and new ideals, different, set of values and follow through. Those are things that are always a challenge in any
Mm,
service industry. New restaurant, you have to put up the sign that says under new management, right?
right.
Because they're doing so terribly before that they have to let people know they're under new management, right? So and so it's one of those
Right.
things that
Right.
you know um, that's the biggest challenge. That's one of the biggest challenges that we faced in this particular
Okay.
time. So
Right. Right. So how do you do that? How are you able to get a set of people who used to work from a different boss and teach them a new set of values? How are you able to do that?
in my experience, you are not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and I've done acquisitions before, in my other companies, acquiring other competitors or smaller
Mm,
businesses
mhm.
so that they could make they bring on the former, employees of the other company, and it is 100% still never worked out. Like I was not able to retain, you know, but not anyone. So it just over time it becomes apparent that they don't want to, you know, adopt to a new system. They're used to the way it used to be. It's the way, or this is the way we used to do it. And it's like that's correct. Used to is the key term.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. So what are your main motivations to work? Basically, what is your why? And
Sure.
can you dive deeper? Yep.
Yeah. So my why, I love solving people's problems, and I like solving people's problems, and it produces revenue. Revenue allows me to produce livelihoods for other people, and in turn create more revenue and create profit. I'm a capitalist. I like to make money. I'm not. I'm not running a nonprofit HVAC company.
Makes
So
sense.
my biggest why is I love to travel, love to spend time and have time freedom with my wife, and I like being able to do it when and where I want to. So that's a focus for me in a business.
Okay. No, that's a great answer. I mean, it's a realistic answer. We have families, we have bills to pay as well, so that is a great way to say. So I actually wanted to dive into that. When you're thinking about business and how you're looking at the finances, what are some things that you think about to make sure that your business doesn't go under? Excuse me.
Um, your number one thing that you have to build in is processes so
Mhm.
that
Okay.
your staff and the people that work with you and for you understand that cash is king, right? Cash flow makes everything work. It's no fun to be worried about the next payroll. It's nice to have 2 or 3 payrolls worth in the bank and the rest of it, to be able to be redeployed into the business. So you one of the biggest things I really try and instill is we need to be prompt with our service, then with our invoicing, with our follow up and our collections.
Right.
Keeping our receivables down, under 30 days is a magic number, and it's not. We're not always perfect at it, but boy,
Mhm.
when we are, it's very nice, and so it allows for us to reinvest in the business, to buy new equipment, to keep cash on hand to pay employees their hard-earned payroll, right? So I mean, people are working, they're working to get paid, and
Yeah. Sense.
even in nonprofit businesses, people have salaries and hourly wages. It's not we're not in a society that's it's not built that way, and so
Yeah. 100%.
um, so that's the thing I focus on, is ensuring that everyone around us understands that we're moving towards a common goal of getting our receivable down and keeping it low and collecting and moving forward so that the company can stay solvent and in turn give everyone
Mhm.
hopefully a very comfortable living wage. That's our big
Yep.
focus.
Yep. So for someone who is thinking of starting this business, they might not know what a receivable is. Can you kind of clarify what that is
Yeah.
for you?
So, you go out and do a service for somebody and then
Mhm.
you provide an invoice and that customer owes you that money.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
ideally you collect from them right on the spot. But if it's a larger ticket item, say, or there's a third party billing,
Right.
you may wait 2 weeks to get paid. You may have a net 30, depending on what organization you're working with. And that means that, we've bought equipment, we've front loaded the cost there, we've paid the labor out, and then finally at the back end, the company collects. And
Right. Okay.
so
Okay.
getting that receivable low or keeping that the time to receivable collection lower is the key for business success.
Okay. Gotcha. So do you guys work with insurance at all, or is that not relevant with what you're doing?
Um, we don't as a whole, and we do case by case basis, but as a general rule of thumb, um, we're the homeowner, if it's a homeowner, typically the homeowner's insurance deals directly with the homeowner, and then the homeowner pays us. So that's kind of the normal thing. We're not really a fan of home warranties. That's
Mhm.
the world's largest scam, save for a few of them. So I've had them myself, and
Interesting.
you go to file for them, and there's a million exclusions and cutouts and carve outs, or what they'll pay for and what they won't pay for. You got to use this contractor because they'll go out for $12.95, and we won't. And so that's insurance is if it's on the individual side, we tend to try and let the individual deal with it and just collect from them as a person.
Gotcha. No, I almost got scammed with one of those home warranties. We bought this house and then suddenly I have these like bills that come in my mail and I thought it was something that I owe. And so I would call them and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you need home warranty." And then my husband's like, "Oh my gosh, just drop the phone. We
Just
don't owe
throw it
anyone
away. Throw it
anything."
away. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's how
Yeah.
they get you.
I've come across a couple. Like I had one customer who had a really great home warranty. It was
Yeah.
just a flat, reimbursement of like $2,000 for the year and they needed it. They needed every bit of that, because the bill for their repair was $3,200, and so that was actually a good deal. Instead of them paying 32, they're paying 1,200. So pretty
Oh,
pretty that's a pretty good one, but that's very rare to see.
yeah, it's case by case. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so for someone who is wanting to start an HVAC business, just like yours, what are some things that you did in the beginning to bring in business, like marketing or like networking? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, for me, I'm very big into networking.
Yeah.
Marketing is not like I like marketing, but I like organic marketing. We're at being a little bit of a smaller company and doing the acquisition that we did. We didn't have the big dollars to just dump into digital marketing and ads, etc. I believe in a great website. It needs to be functional, needs to be clean, should tell you what you have to do.
Yep.
Then we've had our challenges there, and now we're finally getting the SEO in place, which is good. And that's a
Okay.
long on, right? Like it's just gotta go and go and go, and you're always working at SEO. That's not a get done in 2 months, that's a
Yeah.
see in 6 years, and then you're dominant. But for me, my personality has always been face to face and community marketing or community events. I like that. I like getting in front of groups of people, or let's just say there's a homeowners association that's throwing a party. Like, I'm the first to want to sponsor that party. I'm all in on that. So I think that's a great way to build, and then you just you build that rapport, right? And you build the trust, and you build the relationship, and then you deliver on that promise, and you're usually rewarded with that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, my dad owns a construction business, and he built that from zero to where he is now just from referrals. So
Yep.
100%, that's like the best way to do it. I think we're just blessed in such a digital modern age as well that we have another way to actually bring those types of business. But even then, I think I had a conversation with someone as well yesterday, and they're like, yeah, after COVID, everyone got bored and started their own business. And
Yeah.
now like the space is just like so competitive.
Yeah.
So,
That does happen. That did happen. That is kind of funny. But I think you're seeing a big pushback too, because you have these giant PE backed companies, private equity, that are they went through and bought up a ton of mom and pops. But then what happens is people are used to calling and speaking to Christina or their or whomever in their office, and they know the texts that come out, and those when those type of things happen, people even the service tends to fall off a little bit, and people get frustrated. But then on the flip side, because of that, you've had a bunch of solo operators enter the game, and then they feel to compete. It's like a race to the bottom, and most people don't consider the overhead of a company. That even if a small, we have 7 employees and we have 4 vehicles running. They don't know the actual secret costs of running a business, and that's where they tend to really underestimate what's going on.
it's a lot to run a business.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. It takes a village.
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of cash.
And that,
Yeah. So
did you have like a cash flow issue when you were starting out? What are kind of things that you did? You said networking, but can you kind of dive into how you're able to land those first few businesses that would help your?
Yeah, I mean, cash flow is always tough. We came in with some capital, and just we're trying to manage it as best as we can. The key is, I mean, for us, networking, but it's just showing up every day. So if you say you're going to do something, you do it, and then you just keep kind of pounding away step by step, and then it tends to get easier, and then sometimes it gets a little bit harder, and so what our focus is in our business is getting our processes down, our systems developed, so that we don't go backwards, right? You want to continue to move forward, and you're not having to repeat you don't want to feel like you're on a hamster wheel repeating the same mistakes or having the same issues in 3 months. You need to move past that, and that's a goal for us.
Right. No, that's a great goal. Definitely, like, find ways to actually save time in your business, automate what can be automated, and just focus on money making activities.
Yeah.
That's really cool,
Yeah.
right?
And that's without sales, you don't have any business. But then
100%.
without execution of a sale, you don't have any sales, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
like selling ice cream cones, but no ice cream. It's like you might get a few people that are like, I like a dry ice cream cone.
Or selling ice cream for $100 when everyone's selling for 10.
Exactly.
That's also bad.
Exactly.
That's also bad. Okay, so who is your competitor, and what are some things you figured out so that you can be different than your competitor?
I come from the school of thought that there's not competition. There's a surplus of business for everybody mindset. I think for us, it's identifying who we want to be, right? We have our 3 core values, honesty and integrity, consistent professional performance, and exceptional communication, right? And those are our three main things, and that's what our three values are. And so that may mean the job costs $100 or the job costs 15,000, right? But it's the consumer that makes the choice. And so we're going to present what we can do and do it following those core tenets and our core values. And ultimately that's going to lead to, carving out our piece of the business. And so I don't really look at people as competition. There's giant companies that have, that have fantastic reviews and have fantastic, performance. And then there's little companies that do the same thing. And then there's vice versa, right? You got one man bands. I mean, everybody knows of a horror story of this guy showed up and then he just stopped coming, and you're like, what do you, and I walked a job today that, a contractor had been on for, and then he walked off and hadn't been on the job for 7 months and they wanted us to come in and finish it.
Right.
But then you realize it's not necessarily the contractor and it's not necessarily the customer, but there's a bad issue here. And we respectfully decline to say, this is not a project for us, and, you'll have to find something, and someone will do it, but it wouldn't be in it's not our wheelhouse. So.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I actually love that you're honest about that, because what most people do is like, yeah, we can do it. And then it ends up just like costing the client and they can't finish the job. So that's
cost the client, or it just costs, I know my people that work with me and for me, they don't want to do that job. It's not for them. They're professionals. They have an expected time per hour and they have an expected, standard of work. And so, I don't like to put my people through that, and if I know when I walked in, I was like, nobody in my crew wants to come do this job, and nor is it going to make fiscal sense for the company. So you have to really be very honest with the client. We didn't spend much time. We went through, gave them a few suggestions, but, respectfully declined. And they were happy. They just said, thank you very much for your honesty and straightforward. And that's what we move on. So,
yeah, that's all you can do. Be honest. Love that. Okay. So if you're growing a business and you're hiring, what are some of your tips to ensure that you hire the best talent or you motivate the people working for you?
I could do number two, but number one, man, someone else has that figured out. I'm looking forward to your interview on that person. So
okay.
When we get a good one, I tend to hold on to them very long. I'm a big believer in compensation and quality of life. That's a big one. I know there's only so much money people want to make. When they hit that number, now it becomes down to how many days off do I get, or how much rest do I get, or how much free time can I get with the same amount of money, as long as the company's okay and solid to do it. But as far as picking the right hires, like I'm trying different interview techniques. I try the structured interview, and then with, depending on the experience of the person, I try just more of a social interaction or a conversation, kind of like what we're having, or whatever. I'm maybe successful 12% of the time. So we're talking 1 in 8, right now. So, 1 in 7 to 8.5 people are solid, and then the other ones wash out. So I'm sure I'm missing something there, so I can get my ratio down. But my past service businesses, my numbers were 1 in 6. So it was like 6 to get 1, so it was like, that was, 6 interviews or 6 people, and one of them would be the one that would make the group and hang in there for a while. So
okay. Yeah, what are no, I'm actually really curious. Like, what are some things that you look for, like in an interview? You're like, okay, yeah, you're hired, or
you can tell when someone's talking to you, like, one, first off, the communication prior, and then the punctuality, right? So
punctuality is one. Yeah, key.
Very key. I was late to our meeting by 3 minutes, but as soon as I was on another call and I was trying to get another email out.
I understand.
When you text me and I responded right away, right? But
Yeah.
you won't believe how many people for a $25 to a $35 an hour job book an interview and then no show, and they don't call and they don't see, and it's crazy. And it's
crazy.
Like, yeah. So there's that. And then, if they're here, it's, how do you come in? Like, I'm not interested in the suit and tie world. I'm dressed in a long sleeve polo, and I wear shorts here in the summer because it's hot. And so I'm in shorts and a long sleeve polo or a short sleeve polo. And but when someone comes in and they're just torn up, right? And then this third thing I look at is I look at their vehicle now, because they're now driving our company vehicles, right? And commercial insurance is extraordinarily expensive, and we have nice vehicles. And if they show up in a vehicle that looks like it's been through, World War
Tattered.
III, I have to, you know, I I have to have a really strong like conviction to allow that person to get into one of our nice vehicles, right? So
Gotcha.
those are like the unspoken tells.
Okay. No, that's very, very helpful. I was curious. Do you offer like bonuses to help motivate them, or that's something that you're
Yeah, we have a commission structure, we have bonus structure. Um, we have uh referral. I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do to add on to their base pay. We already, I think I figured out that we already pay. We're probably in the top 10 to 12% in the region for pay, which is pretty cool.
Wow,
But
I love that. Yeah.
but it's you know we I don't necessarily want to again compare myself to another company. I just know that you can't get good people by paying as little as you want to, and then demand the most. It just doesn't work. So
Yeah.
um
Yep.
big thing I don't have any tolerance for, though. I'm so bad at it, and anyone will tell you that's worked with me or for me is I hate drama. So like
I know, I get it.
family drama, girlfriend drama, boyfriend drama. Like, I don't care.
Stop wasting my time.
Yeah, just hey, take care of your stuff. Like, whatever, you do
Right.
you. We're here to perform for the customer. Because that's the ultimate. If we don't perform for the customer, then we end up with we're the ones that end up paying for it. The company does, and it looks bad on our reputation, and the customer suffers, and that's the ultimate. That's who
Yeah.
our employer is, right? So
Yep. So I actually love that you pay your people well, but I don't know if this is like helpful or not, but I think I realized that it's different when you give that good pay straight off the bat versus if they have to earn that pay. And I think when I was hiring for myself as well, I totally saw that because I was paying like well above the average, but I feel like they weren't performing well.
right,
So now I'm trying to restructure like, hey, I'm going to give you, of course, slightly higher than what the previous company is paying you. But then if you're able to perform XYZ, then you can expect a promotion. I think that
yeah,
was like a game changer for me. Yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I do essentially kind of a probation period. Um,
Hmm.
but because of the way our business is structured, they have the opportunity to make really great base pay, and our benefits are solid, and then they can. I mean, if they come in and get after it, they can go boom, and in 4 to 6 weeks they can be making 50% more if they're going to work, and that's so. Yeah, that's the work part, but we're in this trades industry, so I feel like that's also a different mindset because it's depending on accounting or something that involves like going to the same 9 to 5 desk every day. People can often like get really complacent, and they'll
Hmm.
do it with trades too. But it's very easy to track, right?
Yeah.
So like the guy sits at his desk and punch in and kind of slowly but surely just get his like keystrokes and get enough in there. But in the trades, it's like, okay, you're not performing. Like, you can see you're not generating any revenue because there's tags to you and jobs assigned to you. And if you just kind of go through them and collect $0, we can tell, and that becomes
Right.
that's evident. And that's the next thing for us is literally putting KPIs into place,
Perfect.
for each individual so that they know what they're expected to hit.
Wow. So how do you track all that? That's a lot of data.
It's I mean, we pay for a very expensive software that does all of that. It's our entire CRM, our dispatch. It's
Right.
Service Titan is what we use, um, and it's an awesome platform for that. I mean, it goes right, takes it all the way down. From the customer experience professional who takes the first call, so it goes to the technician, who goes to the salesperson, goes to the final wrap up by like a supervisor, and so
Right.
you can see who's doing what pretty much at any given time. So
Wow. I love that. I
yeah,
love
but it
Okay.
isn't cheap.
It isn't cheap.
No,
Can I
very
ask
expensive.
what's the name of software?
Called
Is it
Service Titan.
Oh, I knew it. I was gonna say either Jobber or Service Titan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Service
it's
Titan.
Service Titan.
So
Yeah, Service Titan. Yeah, that is a popular one that I've seen. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So, was there an advice that you've received from someone like a mentor that has totally changed your perspective in business and something that you actually like implement in your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one was having goals, and then having your values, and then one of the biggest ones that matters to me is I'm very transparent with our group, um, but to the same effect, like, because it comes back to, I'm the one who has to make sure that there's payroll in the bank, and the customer, that's where we're at. Like, you know, it's my company, like
Right.
it's not their company, and so, and I was told that by multiple other business owners that have built large companies, and they said, you have to remember, at the end of the day, you're the one that has to have the buck stops with you. So don't let people tell you what to do with your company. They tell them what you want done with your company, right? Does that make sense? Like, you give people a vision, give people a roadmap, give them directions, because that helps them feel more certain.
Right.
And most people really like that. Like, that's what they're looking for, is certainty, consistency. And so just providing that as an owner, that's the big, to me, that's a big factor in
Yeah.
retaining quality people, and helping them progress in their lives.
I love that. No, that's a really, really great point because I think it's just human nature to love that stability. I mean, if you actually look at our actions, a big percentage of what we do is based on habits. It's like when you're learning to drive, you're like, oh, I don't know how to drive. And then suddenly you're just a pro at it. You don't even think about driving anymore. It just
Right.
naturally is. So, yeah, we just like that consistency and stability. Okay. No, that's a really great point. So, based on your whiteboard, what does it say?
Mhm.
Focus,
Oh,
customize.
our focus
Yeah.
on customer service so good, people brag about it.
Ooh, I love that.
That obviously comes to, that's our review society now, right? But even then, that was before there were Google reviews. There were, like, your father's company was built on word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
My
100%.
my previous service companies, even we were before we ever had reviews, you would just, wherever we were, people who were our customers were telling non-customers to become customers, right? And so that's what you want. And then our mission is, we're a home service company dedicated to improving customers' quality of life by enhancing their physical environment, right? We're in the HVAC world. We want your air clean, cool, hot if you want it, whatever that looks like. Uh, that's a big factor for us. And then our values, like I said, honesty and integrity, exceptional communication, and consistent professional performance. So,
Okay.
yep.
Okay. So for people that don't know anything about HVAC and that maintenance, like, can you educate us on how often you're actually supposed to be replacing things or checking on stuff? Give
Sure. So we run, like, for our company, and a lot of others, we do a semi-annual maintenance plan, right?
Okay.
So it's really great to have your heating components checked before it's cold season. So, even though we're in South Texas here, and it's going to be 100 degrees at some day in October, you should still let us come turn your heat on for a minimum of 20 or 30 minutes and make sure it works.
Right.
Um, and the flip side, in the spring, as we start to warm up, do your cold check, right? Like, make sure it's doing what you want. One of the biggest things that people jump over dollars to save pennies on is the preventative maintenance. And it's really, HVAC, it's complex, but it's simple. So there's like 5 parts that are really critical, and they're measurable. So they're actually measurable by, by amp draws, or capacitor readings. We'll have a certain value, and then it says on there plus or minus 5%, or plus or minus 7.5%. So if I can take this and say, okay, you have a 55 capacitor, 50/5, and I put a reading on it, and it says plus or minus 5%, and it says 45,
Mm-hmm.
you're 10% low,
Oh
right
no.
there, right? But then you go, well, and I go, I can replace it right now. It's going to be $127. Someone goes, well, I got to think about it, or whatever. Okay, and this is on our maintenance, so we're doing this during maintenance. You've already paid for us to come out. And they go, well, that part's only $25 on Amazon. So, well, yeah, but the truck out there is $65,000 and the fuel, and the guy that's doing this, $37 an hour. And so that's where our markups are. But anyway, let's get back to my point. They say, no, I'll wait. Okay. 2 months later, the piece fails.
Oh no.
Guess what? You're paying us a dispatch, or a diagnostic fee, plus you're paying that $127. So now you just cost yourself $100, or depending on where we are, what region. If we have to drive an hour and a half, it's more expensive, and because we service the coastal bend, we have more road time, and that's just more expensive. And so that's one of those things that, like, if they can show you, like, with a provable, metric, you can look at it with your own eyes and see it. That's the part that's baffling to me that people don't do,
Well, Brian, that would be such a great ad.
Yeah.
Saying, don't be like Frank, and then just tell the story of Frank.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, and then just change your filters. Keep them changed, change them as fast as look, I forget. I mean, I have my own house and I forget changing filters, but
I think I need to change mine.
Yeah,
I've been having bad allergies.
Your simplest one. So, but that's what I recommend.
Okay. No, thank you for that. That was really, really good. And definitely that would be a great ad, because then it's like preventative, and it's like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, I'm costing more. It actually costs more to wait on it than actually just do it now. Yeah. Right. I think that's so important. Preventative is always important in anything. So for sure. Okay. So what are your goals in the next 6 to 12 months with your business?
What are the biggest things that we're doing is solidifying ourselves in the communities that we're serving. We're looking to expand our team, appropriately. My model is a little different. When I hire people, I'm hiring them with the intention of they're going to be lifelong employees or multiple year employees, right? I don't follow the model of hire for the high season and lay off for the low season. I really, really don't like that model. So our focus as we go into our second winter and our second shoulder season is to make sure that everyone that comes on stays busy. They're happy with the workload. We continue to drive revenue and sales in the direction that they're going, and then in the communities that we're in, our focus is just to continue to be present, continue to serve them, get our name out there. One of those things that the first year that you're doing this, it's, even though we took over an existing business, there wasn't that brand recognition. And so it's something that we're working on.
I love that. No, that's a really good goal. And you guys are progressing really well. You take care of your people as well, which is so great, which I think is lacking right now with most companies. So I truly, truly love that. Is there anything else that you want to add to this interview before we end?
No, I mean, I think one of the biggest things is, I know that this is for other business owners too, or other people who are thinking about it. Ask questions. You can ask questions. Take someone to a 15-minute talk or a coffee, or whatever it may be. But I think one of the things that you guys understand, like, we bring value to them if you're going to ask for something, right? And that's a key component. But before you jump off the bridge, ask a lot of questions. Make sure you got the right parachute on. It hurts if you don't. It doesn't feel good, and that comes from experience. That's not just me saying it. That would be it. That and but for me, I'm going on 42, and I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, so I don't foresee it changing now. So
I love that. Okay. No, I appreciate that. So I'll cut the interview here, but I'm actually so curious about that. What other businesses have you started in the past?
So I started a yacht service company when I was 21.
Those are really good. That's a really good one.
Yeah. So I grew that to be the largest in San Diego, for over 16 years. Prior to that, I played college football, and then I started training people, realized I really quickly hated that. So that one went away. And then, my wife and I started a parts company, that was like a sister company to our service company. So that was one of those things I've learned, that, creating your own ecosystem was pretty cool.
Right.
So I did that. And then, I wanted, once I sold that company, or we sold the two companies in 2021, and I thought I was going to flip houses. And
I love that.
Boy, do I hate that. So, it's just not for me. I think it's probably the wrangling of all of the trades and all of the coordination. I like,
Yeah.
and it led me back to like service, and that's where service made sense.
Yeah. So you mentioned San Diego. Are you from OC, or is that where you're from?
No, I was born in Houston, and then my father was in the military, and so grew up in Southern California, and so um, that was then it was time to go. It was ready for something new, and so came back to Texas.
No, I grew up in OC. I
Did you
grew up,
really?
yeah, I did.
What
I went to
part?
school at UCLA, but we were in Irvine for
Oh,
a majority. But I'm originally from the Philippines. We moved here in 2012 when I
okay.
was 15.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then we lived in OC for like the next 8, 9 years before I got
Yep.
married and I moved here. Yeah. My husband actually is based in Lackland. That's
Okay.
why we're here. But this is so much better than Mississippi because yeah, we were in Mississippi for 6 months and we were just like, ooh, swamp
Yeah.
and grass. That was
Yeah.
pretty much it.
So you're
But
from
yeah,
the You're from the what why did your parents immigrate here, just to change things up, or
yeah,
like
yeah.
different life?
So my mom was part of that wave of nurses
Okay.
when that like that period of window where we needed a lot of nurses.
Yep.
My mom was a nurse and yeah, she immigrated here. We waited like 6 years for our papers to go through. And then yeah, from 2006 to 2012. And then she was able to actually like immigrate us here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I grew up in San Diego, where that's one of
I
the
love
things
it.
I miss here is the Asian cuisine. The San Antonio is lacking in the diversity realm. So
Agree. Houston though, it's better.
yeah,
Houston has
a
good
long
ones.
way to go.
Honestly, that's right. Yeah, Houston is good. I know. I do miss it. I do miss the
Yeah.
sunshine, but the house is just ridiculously expensive now. So it's
Oh
just
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I'm good for California for about 3 days, and then I'm like, get me out, So
Really? Is there a reason why? Is it
well, COVID was a big one for me, So
yeah.
I was it was just, I didn't think it was right what the government was doing in California, and the way that they were treating businesses, and how they could essentially pick and choose, and what we were enforcing. And the biggest one for me was seeing the guy out surfing, and they pull one guy out of the water in Huntington Beach because the beach is closed, and then or they drove sand into the skateboard pits, and it's like, this is ludicrous. This is not the world that we need to live in. So
Okay.
it was,
I get that. Totally get
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, you mentioned something like a while ago with like when you were doing your business and all that. Have you actually tried like Home Advisor, any of those like lead generators? That's something I'm always curious with
Yeah, I
trade.
tried all of those
Okay.
right when we got started, and I didn't find them to be fruitful. So
Interesting. Is
yeah.
there a reason why?
Yeah, because they're selling the leads to multiple contractors.
Yeah.
So you're getting, and they're not releasing them at the same time. So we're
Right.
getting, you get a lead, and you're getting 3-4 leads, and
Right.
you get a hold of the homeowner, and they've already had 2 people already come out. So it's like,
Mhm.
well, how am I supposed to have paid for a lead that was supposed to be brand new, and you've already
Right.
had 2 people in the last 2 days? So it just wasn't for me.
Interesting. Yeah. And then you mentioned that you just recently hired like an SEO person and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. Would it make sense if I actually kind of take a look at that and see like if they're doing their job? Maybe I can
Sure.
take a look at
Yeah,
it.
they just came on board in the last 2 months, because everyone has we had a nice design company, did a very nice design on the site, but then they were for the amount of money we spent, I feel like we should have a lot more SEO had been implemented while we were building it,
Yeah.
and it didn't occur. And so I essentially parted ways with them, and then I kind of just let it sit for a while, because I've been through this before. I've built websites. I've done this. It wasn't my first time.
Yeah.
And so the group that we're working with now, I'm very happy with what they're doing. They give
Okay.
excellent reports.
Love that.
They've actually generated more leads in 2 months than the previous year, and also, honestly, from even my previous businesses, they've done a very, very good job. So
Wow. I love that.
yeah,
Okay. They
yeah,
do like the GBP and the SEO for you.
yep.
Okay.
The SEO, and they run Google ads, but we're keeping our budget real tight.
Right.
Because we don't have the money that these
Yes. Yes.
large companies do. And so
Yep.
so for us, it's just they keep refining our keywords, they keep our
Good.
budget tight, and that's that. I do like that. They do a nice
And
job.
you do local service ads as well? That one's very helpful
Do
for.
I do? They don't run those. I have them. They're
Okay.
running, but actually, someone else gave me a tip of what I need to try there, and so it'll probably be our next feature to put in LSA. Or I have LSA running, but the tip was he goes, well, if you only put, let's just say $1,000 a week, he goes, put in $20,000 a week, and the algorithm will pump you up because they're going to try and spend, but they won't spend all 20. You might get 3,000 spent. And he goes, and then if you're overloaded with leads or it starts to hurt, he goes, you can back it down, but you can really run that up and down. And that was a really good piece of advice. So I like that.
What matters most is reviews as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, reviews is number one probably for LSA.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been tougher to dispute the leads, is what I heard. Like before, it was a lot more qualified leads, but now it's a lot harder to actually dispute the leads. It's a pay system, so you have to pay whenever someone calls you. Yeah, the PPC is like cost per click, right?
I've had some success with disputing the leads. Like I had a guy call for employment, and it's like it's none of our keywords say employment, and it's like we clicked on the LSA, and you're just like going, I'm not paying $85 for this, or and so I just and Google, to their credit, give us the credit for it. So
yeah, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'm curious, so I'll take a look at what's happening on your back end, kind of show like a video and stuff. But is there anyone else?
Is a doctor's visit, or we?
Well, there's a lot of things that you can see on the back end of a website.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's a doctor's visit.
There you go. Well, Leandra, thank you very much for this. This was great. I look forward to seeing the video and interacting with you guys some more. And so
absolutely. No, thank you for all the golden nuggets. And do you have anyone in your mind that would benefit from this as well? Kind of sharing their story. Contact.
Yeah, let me chew on that, and I'll text you stuff. Does that work for you? So
yeah, for sure, 100%.
Let me just do that because that way I think you need people that can speak. So you want to make sure they're comfortable in front of a camera.
Yes. Anyone that wants to share their story.
Perfect. Yeah, let me work on that, and I'll get something to you in the next day or two here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Brian. I hope you have a great day.
You too.
Bye.